Welcome to the Confidence in You podcast, designed to help you build confidence and create positive, lasting change in your life. And here's your host, Helen Luxford.
Hi there, and welcome back to the podcast. Thanks again for being here with me today. What I'd like to talk about today is our own self-talk. And even though you might not acknowledge this consciously, we all have self-talk. And some of us will have more than one person that talks to us. So we might have the critic, which is very common. We all have our inner critic. We might actually have a supporter. We might have someone who is our cheerleader. We may have someone who's our doubter. We may have someone who is our procrastinator. We could have one or many images in our mind that talk to us, our inner dialogue that goes on. Now, self-talk isn't necessarily bad, but it is if it hinders you or stops you from doing things that you want to do. And sometimes we don't even realise until later on, or sometimes not at all, that these things are running in our mind and that they are impacting on the decisions that we make. Our self-talk can have a massive influence on how we feel about who we are and then what we do, our behaviour that comes from that. So let's talk a little bit about the difference between positive and negative self-talk. Positive self-talk is that talk that you have. It's like, yeah, go get them, you can do it. And when you feel really good about yourself, it happens normally when things are going on in your life that you're aligned with and that you're optimistic about and that you can see the bright side of things. So it could be that if you're at school, you might be going into an exam and it's like, yep, I've got this. I've done all that I can do. I'm prepared. I'm ready to go. And you walk into that exam room. It could be a job interview. You've done your homework on the organisation. You understand the role. You've got the skills and experience to do it. And you're really confident in your abilities. So that is the positive self-talk. Now, the negative self-talk can come in and make you feel down about yourself or doubt yourself a lot. You might make you feel pretty bad, and it could impact when things are going well, but the self-talk comes up and it puts a downer on everything. And it could be that you're going into that interview and then you get a phone call from someone and it puts you a little bit off kilter. And then you're like, oh God, maybe I'm not as prepared as I thought I was. And then that inner critic comes up. And negative self-talk can make us feel miserable, and it can have a massive impact on how we engage with others. And if it goes unchecked, if we have this dialogue going on for a long period of time, it can affect in quite a big deal about how we live our life, and it can affect our mental health in not a positive way. So let's talk about positive and negative. Like, we all have different emotions and we need to feel them. Some of them feel better. The happy ones feel better. The sad ones feel a bit not so good. But it's not possible to only have happy, because the law of polarity is we need to experience sad to feel happy. We need to experience bad to feel good. We need to experience war to feel peace. That is just the way life is. So understanding that we have ups and downs is really important, and not to go too hard on yourself when you are having a down day. And catching that little inner critic and challenging it. It's like you've prepared for that job interview, you're walking into it, you're confident, you have a bad phone call, the inner critic comes up and it's like, well, hang on a minute, mate. You weren't there a minute ago and I was feeling confident. So stop, take a breath, reset, focus on back how you were feeling before that event and that inner critic came up again, and just minimise the self-talk. And when you do go through dips in life that aren't going your way, you hit a roadblock or something negative or something unfortunate happens in your life, you need to feel through those experiences. As uncomfortable as it may be, we still need to process those feelings, because if we don't and we squash them and we push them down, they're only going to explode later on in life. They're like a little volcano that's bubbling away under the surface because we haven't processed, we haven't felt through those emotions, that sadness or hurt or guilt or shame or whatever it is that we're feeling. We need to be able to feel through that, and then we can come back out. So it's a good idea to have strategies or people to talk to or things that you can do to help you process those sad emotions, those hard ones that are hard to process. And the more you work on improving that self-talk, the more you catch it and challenge it and change it, the easier you'll find it, that it won't be as harsh on you in the future. It's kind of like training for anything, for sport or learning it, anything new. You first of all have to practice it. You have to understand where you're at, where you're at now, what is the level that you're at now, and then keep practicing it. And in the beginning, it'll be, you'll have to focus on it and you'll have to consciously do it. But as you go through it and you learn to catch it and to change it, you'll get better with time, and that inner critic will quieten down and your supporter will become your stronger inner voice. Now, you might say to yourself, it's just, I talk to myself, it's no big deal. But it is a big deal because it affects your confidence and your self-esteem. And if your self-esteem is challenged constantly by other people or by your inner voice, it will have an impact on your life. So working on replacing that negative self-talk with neutral or positive self-talk is really important. It'll help you feel like you're more in control with stuff that's going on in your life. It'll help keep you focused on where you want to go and what your goals are. So I'm going to give you 3 tips today on how to recognize and change the way that your inner critic dialogue is going on inside your mind and to be able to talk yourself up. So first of all, become aware. Observe what you're saying to yourself. Notice what your inner voice is saying. Is it mostly positive or is it negative? Is it helping or is it hindering? You may even want to jot down some notes each day about what's going on for you and what your thinking process is. The second one is catch it. Catch those thoughts. And then change them or challenge them. Is there any evidence for what my self-talk is? And it might be, you're always making mistakes. Well, really, are you? Or is it just this one? Did you ever make a mistake, or is it just your perception? Or is it that, I'm dumb, I can never learn anything? Well, I challenge you on that, and I challenge you to catch that thought because you have learnt things. We've all learnt things. You've learnt how to count, how to talk, how to engage with other people, how to tie your shoelaces, how to make a sandwich, how to get dressed, how to have a shower. So you have learnt things. So challenge your self-talk, catch it and challenge it so that you can change it to reflect on something when you have done something positive. The other thing is, would you speak to the person you love the most in this world the way that you speak to yourself? Would you talk to your grandma or your baby sister or brother or your mum or dad or the person you love the most in this world, whether it be a relative or a friend? If they were in the situation you were in, what advice would you give them? Would you be supportive or would you be as harsh as your inner critic is? Just think about that for a moment. So challenge those thoughts that come in and then change them. Make them neutral or say, thank you for that, but I disagree today because I've got evidence. I know that I've done this in the past, or I know I've got this. I've prepared for this moment and I know that I'm going to be okay. Now, to help you do that, you might want to make a list of all of the things that you're good at, the things that you're great at. Is it meeting people? Is it writing? Is it spreadsheets? Is it computers? Is it gaming? Is it cooking or sewing or writing or tennis or sports of some sort or hobbies? Write down a list of the things that you are good at. And I encourage you to keep that list somewhere handy, somewhere where you can see it every day, whether it's at your desk, on your phone, on the mirror in your bathroom, behind your toilet door, wherever you're going to see it, next to your bed, in a book that you're reading. Put that list somewhere that you're going to see it every day and just read it every day. Because if you constantly are reading that and reinforcing in your mind the things that you're good at, your mind is going to attach to that. It is going to start believing those things, and they're the things that are going to pop up in your inner critic more often now because you're reminding yourself, you're remembering, you're recalling all of those events, all of those things that you're really good at. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Just monitor your self-talk, observe it, catch it, challenge it, change it, and then re-engage with yourself. Engage with your inner dialogue in a different way. And practice doing this each and every day. Create that list of the things that you're good at. You may even want to ask family and friends, just in casual conversation, you might want to say, hey, when you think of me, what's one thing that comes to mind that I'm good at? Make a list of those things and be proud of them, because the way we see ourselves is not always how others see us. So take advantage of asking for that feedback. Ask others just casually, hey, when you think of me, what's one thing that you think I'm good at? And then just say thank you. And remember those things. Remember the things that you are good at. And when you've got that negative self-talk going on in your mind, just switch it out. Switch it out for something neutral or something positive. Thanks for being here with me again today. I'd really appreciate if you could follow me on iTunes and give me a rating on iTunes so that together we can spread the word and build your self-esteem and others. And remember, let your light shine, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye for now.